It is a school, and it is located across the street from Duke Park.
We house about 50 students. Our classrooms typically have 4 to 6 students in them, and within that classroom is one intervention specialist and at least 2 paraprofessionals. And a good way to put it is like they don't need a Superman, they don't need a Spider-Man, they almost just need a Peter Parker and a Clark Kent, just every day, because they're a little leery of who is this and what do they want from me type thing. So just kind of like, I'm just here to chill with you. So ideally I would say a consistent mentor would be one that weekly. Again, I understand life happens and something comes up, communicate with us and the staff so we can give the student enough time ahead of time and say like, oh, I can't make it today. We have space that we can provide in the classroom, like if you want to come during their lunch and eat lunch, or we have a gym that if you want to shoot hoops. A lot of times our kids like that, to shoot basketball and just chat, walk around. We would always have staff available, show you where they're allowed to walk. So just really being present. I know that sounds very simple, but it's very true. Just a consistent presence. The moments that I probably would have never guessed are the ones that matter to our kiddos. Something that I've had students that said, you said this to me, and I was like, I did? Something that I said just in the moment that I didn't really think about, or I wasn't like, wow, that was an amazing quote I gave to them, but they remember it, And so again, I am trying to be an important person in their life and a caring person, and just trying to do right by them is very important to me. And I feel like as a mentor, I don't want you to come in here and if that kiddo's not straightened up tomorrow, nobody thinks it's because of you. There's just not a quick turnaround in this mentoring. It's going to be for the long run. So if you're having a hard time with a kiddo, or you're saying like, I don't feel like I'm making a difference, please come talk to us and let us help you, because a lot of times you are more than you realize. And we get to see that sometimes after people leave and they start talking about things or excited about you coming, and just the moments matter, even if you feel them or not, they do matter.
Yeah, that's the message, is that your presence deeply matters. If you're listening to this and you want to take a step forward, please do. Please even investigate. Even if it's not the right fit, you will go through an internal process of transformation just by taking the next couple of steps. Who was the mentor in your life who made all the difference? Or maybe you didn't have one. Who did you need back then? Welcome to the Mentoring Partnership of Miami County podcast, where we shine a light on those walking alongside kids with harder stories here in our community. If you want to show up for a kid from a hard place, complete the no commitment form in the description and we'll guide you down the path that best fits you. Now join us as we explore the transformative power of showing up and how becoming the person you needed can change a child's life, and maybe even your own. Hey, listener, we are here with our friend Lisa, and Lisa is the principal. Is that what you call yourself?
Principal supervisor. I think my official title is supervisor, but everybody calls me principal.
Yeah, the leader of the ship of the Cooperative Learning Center, which maybe many people in Miami County have not heard of, but it is a school, and it is a real school, and it is located across the street from Duke Park, and you've got a bunch of kiddos there, and we want to know about them and help us to see them and figure out ways that we can together care for them.
Very accurate. Good job. Do you want me to tell you a little bit more about our school?
Oh, yeah. Please tell us about the school, about the students.
Yeah. So we are the Cooperative Learning Center, and our mascot is the seals. I picked the seal specifically because it stands for, in my heart, it stands for social, emotional, and academic learning. So our
Nice.
kiddos, yes, all of our kiddos here come from a school district here in Miami County. And they are all students that are on an IEP. which is an individualized education program. And so on the IEP, there is a decision that the IEP team makes of their least restrictive environment. So we are to the far end of that continuum, and we are a public separate facility. So you are right. A lot of people don't know that we are out here until they find out with being in an IEP meeting with their students.
Mm,
So, yeah, we're a public separate facility. We house about 50 students. And what we can do out here that's different than their schools in the district is we can provide them with a smaller environment. Our classrooms typically have 4 to 6 students in them. And within that classroom is one intervention specialist and at least 2 paraprofessionals. So it is very much one on one. We very much individualize each of our students' programs here. And so we work hard every day to try to build skills for our students that they can go back to district schools. So,
mm. So 50 students, K through 12, come from all different other school districts. They're saying the best solution right now for these students is to bring them here where they can receive as much connection and care as they can.
like, there are some things that with a smaller classroom and more adults in the classroom, like we can work with a student one on one where they're not following maybe the traditional schedule that's inside a school building. We don't have any bells. Um, Students they do complete academics and have academic time in school. However, it's not going to be that traditional, you have to get it done in this half hour, 45-minute increment, um, or you can't move on, or you have to complete. So it's very much we can utilize staff to individualize and work one on one with those students that are struggling at that time of the day or with
Mm,
that subject.
hmm Yeah. And I think for some people, like it might be hard for them to visualize the school, which is why it's important to come visit. And like the sole purpose of this conversation is to help people throughout Miami County see these kids, and if it's in their heart and in their capacity, and they feel like it's their right next step to care for a kid, they can help show up at some frequency to mentor a child. Lisa, what are you, staff, and students looking for in a mentor?
Yeah, so a lot of times our students just by the skills they lack or they do struggle with relationship building and those relationship skills. So we really do try to provide that here, obviously with the high staff to low student ratio, but most of the time it's nice for them to have somebody outside of a school build that relationship and help them build appropriate relationship skills and ties to their community.
Yeah, I have noticed in the mentoring journey myself that when a student realizes and recognizes that someone is here in my life, not because they're paid to, not because they have to show up every day, but for whatever reason, they legitimately want to be here with me, and they consistently do that, that something changes inside of them. There's an unsaid message in that time that is regularly invested and spent. And all of the care and support from all these different angles is great, but there is something unique and special about that outside person coming in.
For sure. And you really said the right word is consistency. That's a lot of times what the student is lacking in their outside life, outside of school, is that consistent person. Very well said that they don't feel like is being paid to be here. Um, And so just having that, because it does take a while, as we know, just in general, to build relationships. Our kiddos, it might take a little bit longer than a typical student. And so having that consistency and working through hard times, and we will always be a supportive staff for a mentor. Um, so if you're having a hard time with a kiddo, or you're saying like, I don't feel like I'm making a difference, please come talk to us and let us help you, because a lot of times you are more than you realize. And we get to see that sometimes after people leave and they start talking about things or excited about you coming and things like that. So I always, want to let you guys know that we are more than happy to help with that process and getting, maybe the right fit for a kiddo. So
Mm. So, without sharing any personal information, could you give us a snippet, like a short story, um, just like a kid that maybe you've enjoyed getting to know over a period of time? Maybe you've witnessed a mentor transform their life in some kind of way, and you've heard those words that the mentor doesn't get to hear, unfortunately, but you all do, and you get to see maybe their giddiness and their eyes light up after they leave, or feel that anticipatory like energy knowing that they're coming that day for lunch. Paint that picture for us.
So I had a kiddo that several years ago, he was a second grader and came into the program and loved it here. He like pretty quickly, like within a couple years, like built like a lot of skills, and we talked to him about, hey, you want to come back? Well, he liked the staff here a lot, especially one of the teachers, and so he said he's not going back. He was going to graduate from here. So as a seventh grader, all of a sudden he said, hey, I think I'm interested in going back. So one of the programs we use here is called Collaborative and Proactive Solutions, and we utilize it because we help build skills with students being able to, one, recognize their problem, two, communicate their frustration or their problem acceptably to an adult, and then three, work with an adult to solve that. He really built a lot of skills in that area. He's able to tell us like specifically what he was struggling with. We created a program for him to go back, a slow transition back. And in with that, we did FaceTimes and Zooms with us, and him and his mom will still communicate back with us. So I always say we have a hard job because we're like, we get these kids and we struggle through with them, and then like they build the skills, and then they leave us. But that's a good thing. We just had a kiddo at open house, heard it was open house at the CLC, and came back to visit us. So, which is super exciting. Those moments that you don't always get, but man, when you get them, they really fill your cup. So, yeah, we have a
Mm.
lot of those.
Yeah, it will require a mentor to not seek those moments, to not try to get them or find them. Really, if you're doing it for that reason, you probably shouldn't be a youth mentor. It's really like there's so much constant investment and depositing, which really, when you're thinking about the ideal, that's kind of the heart posture. That's like why they come and why they showed up. And I heard you say consistent. What does consistent might mean for someone who says yes? And what like time frame, some of those like practical, tactical things, what might they do during that time frame?
Yeah, so ideally, I would say a consistent mentor would be one that weekly would make a weekly schedule, uh, same time, same bat place, type idea. Again, if I understand life happens and something comes up, being able to communicate with us and the staff so we can give the student enough time ahead of time, and with that say like, oh, I can't make it today, but I'm going to make it here. And just being that consistent um, presence. In some days when you come and they might be having a rough day, utilize us. We'll let you know like what typically works. Like I said, we create support plans for our kiddos, so we know what typically works. And on days, so just be willing to listen to some feedback, and um, presence is really, that's where I see is the biggest change that you can make with these kiddos all the time when they come here. It's because they have failed in the traditional schooling, so a lot of times they don't have a great view of school. So that's one of my goals, is to get them to enjoy school and enjoy learning. And we just do that with consistency. All right, you had a rough day today, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. We're not holding grudges. We're not upset. And sometimes it's just being with them, listening to them when they're venting. Or, I mean, I just sat out in the hall with a kiddo for about 45 minutes and we didn't say a word. Just, but it makes a difference to him if you feel it in the moment or not. It does. Um, and so we have space that we can provide in the classroom. Like, you want to come during their lunch and eat lunch. Or in the school. We have a gym that if you want to shoot hoops, a lot of times our kids like that to shoot, shoot basketball and just chat, walk around. I mean, we would always have staff, available that, if you and we would show you like where they're allowed to walk and things like that. So just really
Hmm.
being present. I know that sounds very simple, but it's very true. Just a consistent presence.
Hmm. Yeah, even though words weren't exchanged, a lot was happening, right? Under the
Yes.
surface. Trust
Mhm.
being built, calmness re-regulating. Everything's going to be okay. I'm here. You're okay. I'm like everything's okay. Uh, and I
Yes.
think that that can be somewhat intimidating for people that haven't like encountered or had an experience of that, but maybe they're interested and, thinking that they're capable of showing up. We say that 90% of mentoring is showing up, and that for us means being consistent, being willing to learn, figuring it out, asking questions. You and I nerd
Yep.
out about being trauma informed, trauma equipped, the brain, the body connection story, like all those kinds of things. But what that actually
Yes.
might look like is like reading a book or doing assignment or taking a walk or playing Uno or cards or
Yes.
there's a
Cards are a big
mentoring
thing.
play. Yeah, there's a mentoring playbook with like three open-ended questions that a kid might say yes
Mhm.
to. You know, hoops, like really like anything that's relational. Like sometimes in mentoring, sometimes I feel like mentoring, that word got hijacked and it makes people like kind of anxious about it. But really, it's like, how do you like to spend time, and how do I like to spend time? And I'm an adult and you're a kid, and then how do we just spend time together?
Yeah.
And doing it in a way where it's like you don't have to speak in. Like that is sacred ground. Like you really just have to be present and continue to show up and figure that out. And maybe that's like what's nice about how many like staff there are in that level of feedback loop is you can like maybe a mentor can say like, "Am I doing anything here?"
Yes.
And and the staff and
Mhm.
teacher be
We
like,
do it. We do
"Y-
it here.
"Right, like you're doing it. You're doing it. Whatever you did today, do it." And
Yeah.
I think maybe something else about the word consistency. Like give people like the range of what consistency means by like every week, every other week. How does that fit
Yeah.
into someone's paradigm of like September through, the end of
Yeah.
May?
I would say ideally it would be once a week. And just being able that they can count on you. So if it's that week and say you can't make it, you make it like a different day on that week, or you make it as soon as you can the next week, or you let us know. So it's just that weekly. I think, weekly for a mentor would be a good more that they just might, I don't want to say lose interest, but like more time apart, like two every other week might be a little too much of a break.
Mm.
And then anything more than that just might be like, okay, what's this person trying to do? But
Yeah.
a weekly thing would probably be good. And a good way to put it is like, we don't, they don't need a Superman. They don't need a Spider-Man. They almost just need a Peter Parker and a Clark Kent, just
Yeah.
everyday, like like because they're a little bit, typically I would say, to speak of our kids, might be a little bit leery of who is this and what do they want from me type thing. So just kind of like, I'm just here to chill with you,
Mm,
type.
yeah. Yep. Yeah. It seems like the a lot of this comes back to that word trust. And if trust has
Mm,
been broken time and time and time and time and time and time again, like you're probably going to be the next person in my life that is untrustworthy and that's going to break trust and isn't going to show up. And the only thing that's going to reverse that is being trustable and trustworthy, which means that you are consistently showing up with your
yep.
presence. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
somebody's like, that sounds exactly how I want to spend a lunch break and um, have some meaning and purpose deposited into my life and care for a kid
Mhm.
from a hard place, likely. Um, what's the onboarding process that we have talked about?
Reach out, say that you're interested in mentoring, and then one of the good things would be to come out and just meet with me. Come out and I can show you the facility, show you around, and kind of tell you a little bit more about our programming. And maybe what we would have you do is hang out in a classroom for a lunch period, just kind of see our kiddos. And because I feel like we're so individualized here, like it would be easier for us to say, all right, once we meet you, once you sit in a classroom with some kiddos and maybe play some games with them or go out and shoot some hoops, I feel like naturally we figure out who it would be good with, who the mentoring, like, okay, that'll be good. Like I feel like that like I said, we have 3 adults in our classroom, so there are adults that work better with certain kids, and we that's okay. That's good. I mean, that's what, not that they don't work with other students, but that's what we're doing here. Relationships, building relationships and building skills. So whoever best fits with that, we try to really honor that.
Yeah, I think it's even normalizing that to, like, we all have different personalities and
Mhm.
different personalities fit with different personalities. And the good thing about this environment is that you can figure out which personality and people are actually going to want to spend like consistent time together and, just stay communicative and figure it out. Just to reiterate the onboarding process, in the description of this, there's an interest form. So either fill that out or email our staff. That our email will be in there. Say that you want to, if you fill out the form, say you're interested in the Cooperative Learning Center, and then you connect with you, schedule a tour, figure out what that maybe rhythmic time would be to visit. You go through that process of organic connecting and matching. There's a really simple online background check on our end, and then start showing up and staying in communication with you.
Yep, that'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
We're all about communication and relationship.
Again, the purpose of this conversation is to help people in Miami County see these kids and to know that the stories of rupture and repair, hard stories and healing are all around us, and that we're just helping make them aware and accessible that if you're a caring, safe adult, like you're needed in this world, and help them to easily walk this path into this relationship and begin. I want the listener to hear that as they listen and they contemplate making this a part of their life, yes, it will help to transform that child's life. Yes, it will help to transform your life. Like your time, Lisa, in all of this has transformed your life, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, clearly I don't do this for the fortune and fame.
Yeah.
So I definitely do feel like it's a calling, and it's not like I'm not looking for the kids to fill my cup,
No.
but it definitely, even on the hard days, knowing that I was there. I was there. I listened. I have a few years under my belt, so I know you don't feel it every day. I know it's not like I'm going to do this and it's going to be great for that kiddo. But if I'm just there and I'm consistent, I'm caring, the moments that I probably would have never guessed are the ones that matter to our kiddos. Something that I've had students that said, you said this to me, and I was like, I did? Like something that I said just in the moment that I didn't really think about, or I wasn't like, wow, that was an amazing quote I gave to them, but they remember it, And so again, like I don't feel like I'm trying to be their savior in any way, but I am trying to be an important person in their life and a caring person, and just trying to do right by them every day is very important to me. And I feel like as a mentor, like I don't want you to come in here and if like that kiddo's not straightened up tomorrow, like nobody thinks it's because of you. Like there's just not a quick turnaround in this mentoring. It's going to be for the long run, and just the moments matter, even if you feel them or not. They do matter.
Yeah, that's the message, is that your presence deeply matters. And so if you're listening to this and you want to take a step forward, please do. Please even investigate. Even if it's not the right fit, you will go through an internal process of transformation just by taking the next couple of steps. And realize, listener, that you have other connections, people around you, whether that's friends or family or neighbors or community members, church members, connections on social media. Help those people in your life also hear the stories of these children and give them the opportunity to take a step forward if they want to. So, Lisa, any parting words that you'd like to leave our listener?
Just come try us out. Sometimes we sound pretty scary, and they get here and they're like, I love this. I'm so glad I'm here. And then we have people that it's not for them, and that's fine too. If in any way, shape, or form we want no hard feelings, like if we're not for you, that's okay, But I do know that it is very, like I said, we have 34 staff here that work with them, and I think they would all tell you it's worth it. It's worth a try.
Yeah, these are wonderful children. These are wonderful kids.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, listener. And thank you to all of your staff who continue to pour out. And I think that we do have someone that's actually interested in mentoring. I think that we've already made that connection. And so let's see what else is in store for those kiddos. All right. Thanks, Lisa. Have fun tomorrow, and keep going.
Always. Thank you.
Always. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
Wow. Wasn't that conversation powerful? Chances are, while you were listening, someone else was coming to mind. You wanted them to listen in too. And on behalf of a child, send this episode their way. And if you care about these kids, take a moment right now to subscribe, rate, and review. Because when you do, the algorithm helps more people find these conversations, to find the voice of these kids. And each small step you take helps more adults show up for a child with a harder story. If you want to explore how you can show up, fill out the no commitment form in the description of this episode. Because only together can we help more kids find the support they need. And only together can we help more adults step into the story they were made for.